But what the marketing pulpit is about is strategy. Use social media and stop letting it use you. That's one thing about a business. It's an equalizer. It's a game changer. We have to think like the successful companies. Welcome to the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses, saving jobs, saving our community. Now, if I happen to save a soul along the way, I don't want you to hold that against me. Let's just call that icing on the cake, because we are on a mission. Mission is to build strong businesses in our community and put our people to work. And we do that with business development, job creation, and we have to serve. So service is a big part of that ingredient. All right, I'm Robert Gatewood, and I am the host. I am a business developer by trade. Been doing this now for almost 30 years. That means I work with people. I actually do this stuff. I don't just sit here and talk about it every Friday. I have clients all over the country, so I'm out of the country. And my goal is to make business owners successful, but not just for success sake, for legacy building, building communities, laying down economic foundations. So I am on a mission. I have a purpose. I've also written a couple of books, one called Played in Full. I wrote another one called Smarter Than the Boss. I'm an adjunct professor at Prince George's Community College in the DC area. And I'm also a consultant for the Small Business Administration in the 8A program, help companies in their social media space, in their branding, in their web space, capability statements, you name it. So I've been doing this for a minute. Of course, I am also the president and CEO of Gatewood Marketing and Web, full service advertising agency. So I don't just sit here and talk about this. If you want to find out more about me or the company, go to marketingpulpit.com. marketingpulpit.com, and we are on all of the major social media platforms. You can find me on Facebook at Marketing Pulpit. You can find us on Twitter at Marketing Pulpit. You can find us on YouTube at Marketing Pulpit, and you can find us on LinkedIn. Well, find me on LinkedIn at Robert Gatewood. We have a Marketing Pulpit page, but most of the information that we post here live is actually on my personal profile on LinkedIn. So anyway, that's how you can find out more about the show. And also, when you go to the Marketing Pulpit site, if you have a topic that you are curious about, if you want to go out here and get some free information that's been proven and tested, just go to the Marketing Pulpit website and type in that search bar. We have a search bar, a very convenient search bar on the homepage. Over on the right, type in a topic. If you want to find out more about branding, you can find the branding shows. If you want to find out about social media, just type social media in the search bar. If you want to find a certain guest that's been on the show, or let's say if you've been a guest on the show and you want to find your interview or your appearance, just type your name in that search bar and it'll bring you right up. And if you don't find it on there, just go to the YouTube channel, because some of the newer shows are not on the website search, but you can find them on YouTube. All right, so that's all the housekeeping today. Welcome again. Thank you for joining us today. And if you're new, tuning in for the first time, where the heck you been? It's never too late, though. That's why I told you can go back and watch the past shows and get yourself caught up if you are a business owner. And don't be selfish. Don't try to keep all this good information to yourself. If you know somebody, some young person or retiring person who's about to finally throw their toe in the entrepreneurial pool, send them to this website, Marketing Pulpit. And I'm telling you, folks, that'll give you as much education as going back to some of these colleges, because this is tested, real life information. I've been doing this for a long time. So welcome again. Got an exciting show today. Today we're going to talk about influencer marketing. We're going to talk about influencer marketing. That's kind of like the hot thing right now, but is it just a fad? It was just one more shiny object to get people excited. And next thing you know, that's gone by the wayside and they're on to something else. We're going to talk about influencer marketing. We're going to talk about where it started. It's not new. It just maybe new in social media sphere, but we're We're going to talk about influencer marketing. We're also going to talk about some of the things that are happening in the news. We're going to talk about the DL and Monique lessons learned. If you've been watching that saga, then we're going to talk about why you could have learned something from this as a business owner. And there's lessons in everything. That's why this show is all about context. Everything we do, everything we see out here in the world, on the news, in our daily lives, I run it through the marketing prism. How's this going to affect my business owners, my clients, my listeners? And can we learn something from this, regardless of whether it's somebody slapping somebody on the Oscar stage, or whether it's two comedians fighting over who should be the headliner? There are lessons. That's right. You don't have to be a comedian to learn. That's right. You can learn from just about anything. Also, this is the weekend of Juneteenth. Juneteenth is coming up on Monday. Juneteenth, I think the holiday started, when did the holiday start? I think it started last year. It was recognized in 48 states. President Biden signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day, making it a federal holiday. Takes place on the 19th, which marks the true end of slavery in the United States. And the holiday was observed when the slaves in Galveston, Texas, were finally informed of their freedom upon the arrival of the federal troops in June 19, 1865. In other words, Lincoln had signed the Emancipation Proclamation 2 years earlier in 1863. But the poor brothers and sisters down in Galveston, Texas, they just slaving their hands off because nobody told them. See, they didn't have email back then. Nobody could tweet it. They didn't have Instagram. Couldn't go to the YouTube channel. Couldn't turn on CNN. News traveled pretty slow back then. And I tell you, boy, slavery wouldn't have lasted in nowadays. Not with Instagram and TikTok. That would have lasted about 5 minutes. Slavery like, what? I'm supposed to pick what? Let me get on where's my phone? We're gonna put an end to this today. Anyway, but we do have a different form of slavery today. So even though the freedom fighters may have new weapons, so does the oppressors, and they just stay one step ahead of you. So anyway, folks, let's look at this holiday coming up, and let's see. This year, the holiday actually falls on Sunday, the 19th. So it will be observed as a federal holiday on June 20th, which is Monday. Government buildings will be closed, and many Americans will have a day off work. Now, what are you going to do with this day? I want you to tell me. I'm going to open up the lines. You want to come on the show? Go to marketingpulpit.com, and you can see a link there on how to be a guest on the show, because I'm curious. How are you going to celebrate this holiday? Now, according to this writer on YouTube, she says Americans celebrate this holiday by attending local parades, serving Juneteenth-inspired recipes, and reflecting on the true meaning of freedom. Okay, I like the last part. Let's see here. On the Today Show, there's a columnist on their website. They said, like the 4th of July, is characterized by summer cookouts, barbecue, baked beans, deviled eggs, potato salad, cakes and pies, red drinks, watermelon. It said red colored foods are classic. Red drinks, watermelon, and red velvet cake. And anytime you throw watermelon in the mix, you're talking to black folks, you're gonna get some pushback. I mean, but I tell you though, I like it. I ate some watermelon last night, but it's something about that watermelon, boy. You just can't. It's almost like the N word. Certain people can say it, and certain people can't. And like this person on the Today Show who gave these tips on Juneteenth, Tony Tipton Martin. She may have been a sister, but you know how it is. We get a little sensitive when folks from other races mention watermelon and fried chicken. I mean, rightly or wrongly so. I mean, come on now. We know how these tropes and stereotypes can manifest. But man, that's not gonna stop me from enjoying a good slice of watermelon. I'm just gonna tell you. Call me a stereotype if you want to. Man, you cut that thing just right, and you get the heart out of there. Mm-mm-mm. Man, you talking about something good. Hey, good morning to some folks. I see some people tuning in here. Good morning, Marilyn. Thank you for joining the show. Marilyn Platinum, the comedian. Matter of fact, she was on last week giving us her opinion on some of the topics of the day. And you can find out more about her by going to the past show. And anybody who wants to put your information in the feed, I will give you a shout out because this is a business show. And it's my cause celeb to help promote your business. So if you want to give yourself a free shout out, what you can do, come on the show and talk about some of these topics we're going to talk about today. Get on here and tell me your opinion. And when we're done, I'm going to say, now tell me about your business so that all of my thousands of followers can find out more about you and buy your product, buy your book, attend your event, buy your shirt. So somebody says, hello, Facebook user, whoever you are. Thank you for tuning in. All right, let's see. And I see other people tuning in here. I don't see your names because until you put a comment in, your name is not revealed, but I can see your numbers, so I know you're there. I know you're over there. So let's see. Let's see what else is going on. Now, also, we're going to talk about, let's see, we're going to talk about influencer marketing and some weird things that are happening in the news. We're going to talk about Deshaun Watson, $5,000 happy ending. You know what? I used to think happy ending was when I was a kid, happy ending meant that you got to the end of the book and you skipped off into the sunset, arm in arm. And if you watched the rom-com and the boy got the girl that he was chasing the whole movie long. Well, in this Deshaun Watson saga, and this $5,000 happy ending has taken on a new face, a new relevance. We're going to talk about that coming up later on. Let's talk about this D.L. Hughley and Monique. And in case you haven't been following it, they had a comedy show a few weeks ago. And when they got there, and DL and Monique, they both felt that they should be the headliner. Both of them put up their contracts. They showed their receipts. They said, I'm the headliner. This person said, no, I'm the headliner. And they went back and forth. And of course, then that started a feud that went on for a few weeks. It got really ugly and nasty. Monique said something about DL's daughter, where he had some type of, she had been abused by some fella, and she said if he was a good dad, he would have taken up for her. DL comes back and calls her a monster, and like, come on, people, where's Rodney King when you need him? Can't we just get along? We got enough. We need to turn that ire on some of these oppressors out here. Some of these folks are trying to stop us from voting. Some of these folks that's redlining us. Some of these folks that won't hire our kids. But we're going to fix that by creating our own jobs. But anyway, my point is, I don't think that's the way to do it. I don't think we should be fighting each other. We should be getting along. But there are some lessons in this story. I like to find the silver lining in all these gray clouds. Even when you got comedians slapping each other and comedians fighting over the headlining and talking about their families and calling each other monsters. And you might say, Gatewood, what kind of lesson can you get out of that? Well, let me tell you, like Bernie Mac, let me tell you a story. Let me tell me. Got to work on my Bernie Mac impression. Getting a little rusty there. But anyway, the lessons from this story, I would say, number one, get things in writing. Now, I've been saying this over years. There's an old saying, strong fences make good neighbors. Now, what does that mean? If you have a neighbor on one side of you or the other side or behind you, if you don't have a good fence, your dog gonna be running in your yard, the kids gonna be kicking their playing kickball and knocking out your windows, and the lawnmower is gonna be cutting on your side of the fence and all kind of stuff going on. And it's gonna create some hostility because you didn't have a strong fence. You put a strong fence there, everything is clear. Keep your kid over here, keep your dog over here, don't have him over in my yard doing the nasty. And the same thing when it comes to contracts and agreements. Get you a strong agreement. Get it in writing. Strong fences do make good neighbors, and strong contracts make good comedians. Now, here's one I've been talking about many years also. I've been saying this. I've done whole entire shows on this. And you can go to marketingpulpit.com and you can do a search on it. All money is not good money. Sometimes you just have to say no. And one of the reasons I gave in my sermon on all money is not good money, sometimes it's just the personalities don't match. Sometimes it's not worth it money-wise. Sometimes the personalities, sometimes it's the venue, sometimes you're just not feeling it. And some people are just not worth working with. I'm sure both Monique and DL are saying that in hindsight. Sometimes people are unprofessional, sometimes they're jealous, sometimes they're unreliable, sometimes they're blaming everybody else for their shortcomings, sometimes they don't follow through on their agreements. So sometimes you just can't do business with everybody. That's one lesson, another lesson from the DL and Monique saga. Now here's another one. You can't mix business and pleasure. Now to a point. Now, you can go to somebody's barbecue and you can, but you got to keep that distance. You got to keep some distance, even with your family members. When it's business, it's got to be business. DL went to Monique's house and had food, and now all of a sudden that comes back up. I mean, I'm not saying be this is stick in the mud, but you just can't get too close to everybody. You have to let that happen over a long period of time. Now, if you've been around somebody for 30 years, they become like family, really. But these relationships you meet, a client you met, you worked for them a few months, next thing you know, you're going on trips together, they're over at your house, I don't do that. Sorry. People think I'm a antisocial. I'm sorry. You just ain't, it ain't happening. Now, there's some folks like Joe Madison and people like that I've known 20 plus years. Yeah, we'll go to each other's house. We'll go to each other's cookout, things like that. Buddy William and folks like that. Yeah, we're going to hang out. But I'm still going to, it's still a certain point, even with that. Because sometimes these things go bad. These relationships can go bad. Here's one I've been saying again for a long time. Don't put all of your personal information out there. Because it's in the wrong, if it gets in the wrong hands, people can weaponize it and use it against you. That's happened in the case of Monique. And DL told his story about his daughter and the trauma she had. And next thing you know, it had been weaponized. So hold some things close to your chest. People don't have to know everything. They don't have to know everything you think, everything you feel, and they don't have to know all of your personal family life. Because it can get in the wrong hands and hurt you. Here's one that shouldn't have to be stated, but humility goes a long way, particularly in business. Humility. If you're not sure what that is, look it up. But being able to just let something go, self-deprecation, that's okay. Let's move beyond this. Humility goes a long way. Another lesson here is that if you're not happy with the way people are treating you, if you have that kind of cachet, if you're as biggest star as you think you are, if you have the type of influence and talent that you say you do, start your own. That's been my approach. Somebody close the door on me, Jack. I'm going to take that door and go make me a new one. Don't curse the darkness. Light a candle. Also, You got to pick your fights. Every fight is not worth fighting. Sometimes you can win the fight, win the battle, and lose the war. So sometimes that loss of brand equity, goodwill, is more valuable than some short-term gain in money. All right, folks, let's take a quick break here today. I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some items in the news. And boy, do we have some doozies for you today. Oh boy. Anyway, hang on a second. We'll be back in a minute. This is the Marketing Pulpit. I'm Robert Gate with your host. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a moment. I'm not busy. I'm just in another era. Lock the refrigerator door. Do not let negativity have another bite. Don't feed it. If we know that women are carrying the burden, they should be paid more. They should be given more flexible work hours. I may stop in some period, but as long as folks back the food, got to talk about it. Every week, we talk about some of the hot items in the news, and then you, as a listener, have an opportunity to come on camera and give your point of view. And afterwards, you can talk about your organization, your book you're trying to sell, your event.
It's a collective effort, and because I've seen it from all facets, where you have parents who are involved in their child's life, but still things happen.
Well, Robert, I'm in the financial services industry, and I just really want to encourage people to get their things organized and documented.
When we don't see our children learning, we see our children in the street, they're going to learn from something. So it's best that they learn from us.
All right, welcome back to the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses, saving jobs, saving our community. Yeah, I save a soul every now and then. Got that from my dad. He was a Baptist minister. And man, he would save a soul. He would save a soul. All right, let's see here. We're going to talk about some items that are happening in the news. Don't go anywhere. See where my screen go here. Hold on there. Hold on. Don't go away. Hold on. Okay, there we go. We're going to talk about some items in the news. Also, we're recognizing Father's Day weekend this weekend as well. So I want to say congratulations and much love to all of the fathers out there who are doing the fatherly thing, whether you're a father by naturally or whether you've taken on the responsibility of raising somebody else's children, whether you're mentoring, whatever you're doing, you're adding to the uplifting of our youth, the younger folks, and helping somebody go straight and narrow. I say hats off to you. Salute to all of the fathers out here. Father's Day is going to be recognized on this coming Sunday. This coming Sunday, we're going to be recognizing Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to everybody. All right, hang on one second here. All right. Like I say, if you want to join the conversation, like Marilyn and others who are tuning in and want to add some comments, opinions on some of these news items, then just go ahead and go to marketingpulpit.com and you'll see a link on how to become a part of the show. And we'll give you an opportunity to promote your business, your event, your book. And this is free. This is a service that we're offering to help companies get some type of advertising going, because you just can't sit over there and pray and wish and whatever you decide to do. Those customers aren't going to, they're not going to just go out here and find you. You got to put yourself out there. And we're giving you a big platform here at no cost. This is the Marketing Pulpit, because this is our mission. Let's see. So happy Father's Day. We're recognizing Juneteenth. How are you going to be celebrating Juneteenth? What do you think we should do with this holiday? Should we do like this lady from the Today Show says, eat some red velvet cake and watermelon and red drinks? But she did say also eat some barbecue baked beans and deviled eggs. I think there's more to it than that. I'm thinking, I could be wrong. I think I'm going to do more than that. Or if, like the lady from Yahoo said, she said, reflecting on the true meaning of freedom. I kind of like that. Go to some parades and serve some Juneteenth inspired recipes. What those happen to be, I'm not sure. But I'm sure there's probably something in there going to tick you off. Oh boy. But I even wonder about that. Are we a little too sensitive sometimes? I mean, I'm just saying. I don't know. I guess when you've been picked on for 400 years, man, you do have a chip on your shoulder the size of Africa. All right, let's see what's going on in the news here, ladies and gentlemen. Amazon is pushing its influencer program. Hey, that's a good tie-in. Amazon has this influencer program where they have, recently they had a getaway. They had this resort in Mexico, and they invited these influencers down to Mexico to this resort to kind of court them into their influencer program. I was like, where's my invite? Amazon, you didn't invite a brother to the influencer resort? Aren't I worthy of being one of your influencers? Oh, wait a minute. I am an Amazon influencer. I forgot. That's probably why they didn't invite me. They invited the folks who they were trying to bring into the program. Since I'm already there, I guess that's why I didn't get my invite. Anyway, I am an influencer for Amazon. It's a process that you fill out an application, and then once you become an influencer, then they give you a website. But the way they decide who's an influencer, you have this application to fill out. Then they look at your social media platforms, how many followers you have on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and places like that. And then they decide up or down whether or not they think you have enough influence to join their program. And then once you get a program, then they give you a web page where you can have a store. And then on that store, you sell products, and then you get a commission. And they're using your influence. And that's why we're talking about later in the show, how these influencer programs work and how you as a small business owner might add influencer marketing as one of your advertising vehicles. It's not just for the big companies of the world like Amazon and so forth. You can do it too. And we're going to talk about the importance of influencer marketing. Is it a fad? Is it going to be here? And if you want to find out how it works, you're going to see my influencer. I really didn't consider myself an influencer. They sent me the link. I filled it out. I'm just a guy here trying to get people businesses online and to working. But go to marketingpulpit.com and you'll see a link up at the top called the Amazon store. And if you haven't done your Father's Day shopping yet, go up there and buy some items for the barbecue grill, pop some aprons, some pajamas, some speakers for his stereo system. So we have these items. We even have some books in there, books by Neely Fuller, Joe Madison's latest book. All of my books are there. So you can get a firsthand view of how this influencer program works. When we talk about it later in the show, you'll have some context and some real life story, a real life example of how it works. Anyway, that's what Amazon just did. They served as they just had this resort down in Mexico. Anyway, we're going to talk about influencer marketing later in the show. right here on the Marketing Pulpit. So you don't want to miss that, because if you've done everything else, you're out here posting on social media, you're afraid to spend money on traditional advertising like radio and TV because of the cost. You've done all this networking, you're sending out emails, nobody's responding to your events. Well, we're going to talk about other ways to market your service, and it's called the influencer program. If you've seen the BLE ads that we run on this show, that's a good example of influencer marketing, because we are targeting business owners, and we're using the influence of the Marketing Pulpit show to help support our sponsor and the other sponsors that occasionally come in on this show. So that's another good example of influencer marketing. We're going to talk about that later in the show. Let's see, Wall Street. Oh my goodness. I don't know if you all heard me a few months ago. I'm on here, man. I'm popping the champagne. I thought I had hit the lottery, because I was kind of new to the stock market. I was telling everybody, look now, don't take my advice. I'm not an expert, but I am having a pretty good run, man. But this month of June, man, I've been looking for me a good bridge to jump off. Oh my goodness. You talking about somebody who lost about almost 40% of his portfolio? Yeah. All that Tesla stock I've been praising, and Lord have mercy. If you have a story to tell, come on, let's talk about it. Go to Marketing Pulpit and figure out how you can become a guest on the show. We'll take you today. We'll put you right here on the air. You can talk about that event you're having when you're done. Talk about your book. Or if you're having some kind of fashion show or something you're trying to put out there, come on the air and talk about it. Let's see, we're experiencing a record high for home equity. That means if you have these houses, don't get rid of that house. Use that equity. Now, I've been saying this for a while too, because we're experiencing a record high in the equity in homes right now. $27.8 trillion. That's tappable equity in homes right now. I didn't say million, I didn't say billion, trillion. Now, the good thing about that is that people feel like to capitalize on this equity, they need to go out and sell the house. That's where a lot of people have lost out to things like gentrification, because nobody told them that valuable asset, you need to sit on it, leverage it, just like your stocks. You don't have to sell them. Use that to leverage. Get a HELOC, home equity line of credit, or do a margin stock. So there are ways to capitalize on this equity without selling your home. So that's good news. That's the good news. Let's see what else is going on. Oh yeah, we talked about the stock market with the Robinhood app. That's what got me into the stock market in the first place. Somebody told me about this app called Robinhood. Well, their stock shares now are so low that the stock is now worth less than its cash value. Of course, again, that was one of the stocks I went out and bought. So if y'all see me drinking on this cup a little more, if I'm holding this cup a little tighter than usual, and I do a little wobbly when I pull it down, let's blame on the stock market, okay, and Robinhood. Oh, Lord have mercy. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to join the conversation, go to marketingpulpit.com and just click on the link to join the show, join the discussion. We'll bring you on the air. We'll talk about some of these topics. Help a brother out over here. I'm about to lose it over here, reading about this stock. And don't let me get to this war in the workplace. Woo. Man. All right, let me keep going here. Man, it's rough out here. Rough out here, ladies and gentlemen. Brandon made a good point. He said, I guess Robinhood is robbing from the rich and the poor. That's true. Robinhood is an equal opportunity robber. Got it. And thank you again, Bradley, for joining us. Intellectual property attorney. Good brother. Good brother. What else is going on in the news, ladies and gentlemen? Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take one more break. We're going to come back. You got to hear this war in the workplace today. And what war in the workplace is about, that's when we talk about some of this craziness that started. I'd say it started during the pandemic, where people just lost their ever-loving mind. So much so that I had to create a segment just to keep up with it. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about this happy ending. Man, I'm so naive. Just like a few months ago, I found out that these some of these restaurants, they have like they have code words for Black folks because they say we don't tip, right? So one restaurant, I think it was Wawa or somebody, said they would call the waiter would call the Black people Canadians. This one girl went over to the counter. She wasn't up with the program, so she went over to the table and said, "How are things in Canada?" And so my being just as naive, when somebody came over to my table and said, "Hey, I didn't know you were a ninja warrior." What you talking about, Willis? I'm not a ninja. Well, I'll let you figure that one out. I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, say good morning to also brother Gerald Brown, the greatest plumber in town. Glad to see you back, brother Brown. Glad you can join us as you do most mornings. We're going to come back talking about some of these items in the workplace. Also, once again, happy Father's Day to all of the fathers coming up this weekend. Also, Juneteenth. How are you going to celebrate Juneteenth? Should we be eating red colored foods like red velvet cake and watermelon? Should we be barbecuing? Do we have an official food yet? I know we eat a turkey for Thanksgiving and a pig feet, or what do you eat for New Year's? Collard greens and black-eyed peas and Christmas, you eat a turkey as well. 4th of July, which I guess we got Juneteenth now, but we get 2 holidays. You cook some barbecue, cook your hot dogs and hamburgers and chicken and steaks on the grill. But what do we do on Juneteenth? Somebody help me out so I know what to do this weekend. I won't be out here wandering around like somebody lost in the wilderness. Do I need to go buy a red velvet cake? Do I need to stock up on watermelon? As Yahoo said, Walmart got in trouble because they came out with this Juneteenth ice cream. Should stores be capitalizing on Juneteenth? Well, they capitalize on every other holiday. I'm just musing over here. You help me out. Let's see here. Platinum says she's going to be meeting with a new business partner. Hey, I like that, Platinum. Come on, I'm going to put you on there in a minute. I want to hear about this. All right, folks, hang on a second. We're going to take another break. We're going to come back and talk about happy ending and a few. Anyway, don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a moment. I'm not busy. I'm just in another era. Lock the refrigerator door. Do not let negativity have another bite. Don't feed it. If we know that women are carrying the burden, they should be paid more. They should be given more flexible work hours. I may stop in some period, but as long as folks back the food, got to talk about it. If you have a jacked up idea that's never going to get off the ground, Robert Gatewood is going to tell you. All right, don't get mad at me now. I'm telling you, I'm saving you some heartache down the road. I'm going to tell you something else I'm saving. I'm saving the folks that you might do damage to if you get out here, start a business, and not taking it seriously, and people are transferring their accounts over to you. They're giving you their personal information, their financial information. They're trusting you because you told them you were in business, and they took you at your word. Don't betray that trust. So if you're going to go into business, let's go into it the right way. If you're not sure, right here, Marketing Pulpit Show, I'm going to tell you how to do it. Every week, we talk about some of the hot items in the news, and then you, as a listener, have an opportunity to come on camera and give your point of view, and afterwards, you can talk about your organization, your book you're trying to sell, your event,
it's the collective effort. And because I've seen it from all facets where you have parents who are involved in their child's life, but still things happen.
Well, Robert, I'm in the financial services industry, and I just really want to encourage people to get their things organized and documented.
When we don't see our children learning, we see our children in the street, they're going to learn from something. So it's best that they learn from us.
Have to load up on the heavy stuff here for this news I'm about to do. Had to jump down and do some jumping jacks and push-ups. Some rough stuff. Anyway, folks, thanks for tuning in to the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. Go to marketingpulpit.com. And if you have a topic of interest and you want to find out more about a certain category of information as it pertains to business, use that convenient search button over to the right. Just type in the topic you're looking for, and you'll find an entire collection of shows and special guests talking about that particular topic. Might save you some heartache down the road, I'm telling you, because this is tried and true tested information. I have a marketing company called Gatewood Marketing and Web, and people are spending very good money for my services. Matter of fact, so much to the fact that we're not taking clients right now. We're just trying to do better with the clients we already have. I have a very short list of very selective clients. Got more selective over the years, and that's what happens, ladies and gentlemen, when you do business the right way. You get to pick and choose your clients. But for the rest of you, you can tune into the show. I'm just not going to have time to handhold you for your project right now. Well, you go ahead and try. You can go ahead and set up an appointment. I can give you a free consultation. You can go to Gatewood Marketing. I give you a free 15 minutes, and if you have a rare. If the stars line up, if Jupiter aligns with Mars and June and something in the 7th house, we might can do business. But right now, I'm just doing this show to try to reach as many people and save as many people heartache as I can. And I'm giving you an opportunity to promote your business by coming on the air here. Hit that button on the homepage on how to be a guest on the show, and we can take you today. We'll find some room today to squeeze you in. When we get to that, finish up the news here. Let's see. Let's talk about the war in the workplace. We started this segment a couple of years ago. As a matter of fact, let me give my lead in here. Hang on a second. Let's talk about war in the workplace. I talk about stakeholder relationships quite often. Stakeholders is anybody who has a stake in the success or failure of your business. And generally, these components, these ingredients work in concert. They support each other. We have synergy. They're like, freaking frat, working together. But every now and then, what we're seeing right now, we are seeing them come to blows, literally. And that is no exaggeration, ladies and gentlemen. We are seeing things, these are different times. But like I say, we're looking for that silver lining, that happy ending. Oh, never mind. Maybe not. Deshaun Watson, he's been in the news quite a bit lately. And the reason he's made it onto our business news, because I'm going to stop the word allegedly as I relate this story. But one of Deshaun's 26 accusers says she was coerced into a happy ending after he stated he wanted to help Black businesses. Okay. All right. Let me see what I have in this cup here. Now, happy ending, I'm not going to get too graphic here, but in the massage world, happy ending is not skipping over the rainbow. It's not the happy ending we taught when we were kids at the end of the fairy tale, where the prince and the princess end up getting married. But anyway, There's a Houston spa owner, and her name is Louis. What's the name? Her name is Dion Lewis, and she received a $5,000 payment. And just so happened that she has referred about 3 different masseuses to Deshaun Watson. And 3 of those, well, she's referred probably more than that, but 3 of those are actually part of this suit of these 26 people who have accused Watson of doing some untoward things during his massages. He brings a little towel instead of taking the towel that masseuses bring. He brings an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement to the massage. Just things that you don't typically do at a massage. And of course, then there's some other things that take place. But the part that caught my attention is this part about the $5,000 to help Black businesses. Man, I'm telling you, I have a problem with this because there are people out there. I mean, it's hard enough to get people to do the right thing when it comes to business. They think everybody's out to take advantage of them. That's why, like I said, that's why I don't go out here now beating the bushes trying to just bring in every Tom, Dick, and Harry, Sue, and Sally as a client, because I built a reputation and a list of clientele that I've become very comfortable with. And so a lot of folks who are sitting on the fence about what to do about their business, they are very uneasy. They're very reluctant to take good advice, to take the help that they need, because there are some people out there who are bad actors. They don't have good intentions. I'm saying allegedly with Deshaun, but this $5,000 and the happy endings and to couch it under helping Black businesses, that's the part I have a problem with. I mean, I have a problem with the whole thing if he's using his celebrity to take advantage of these poor people who are trying to make money doing massages. But when you throw in the Black business, that is not a happy ending. I'm just going to tell you. That's not a happy ending to me anyway. All right. Speaking of other endings that are not so happy, Facebook has this online platform where you can sell your products, something like a Craigslist. Well, there's folks down in Florida. They would meet the folks, beat them up, and then take the merchandise and not give them the money. They had a little racket going. So they were trying. They went to find out somebody put a pair of $700 sneakers on there. They go to meet the person, beat them up, and took the $600 Jordans. First of all, you shouldn't be paying $600 for Jordans anyway. I'm not saying you deserve to be beat up, but sometimes you're just asking for it. Don't say I'm victim blaming, but y'all just putting too much. I'm just putting too much stuff on Facebook. I'm just gonna tell you, you got to do some things the old-fashioned way. Now, the good thing I like about this sheriff department, though, they have set up a what they call like a safe space, where instead of just meeting the person out in the woods somewhere, you can meet and conduct these transactions at the police station. Now, that's a good idea. I'm going to drink to that. This is coffee, by the way. That's a great idea. So anyway, thank you, Kissimmee Police. Let's see here. A nail salon owner has been sentenced to 15 years for forcing labor on an employee. So this 37-year-old Tai Ting Long, she's found guilty of forcing labor on one of her nail technicians. And the victim of the salon said that she attacked her, beat her with cuticle clippers, nail files, and brooms. Not a broom. So when you're all going out here getting these nails being, Y'all might need to do a little more research. I know you want your nails did. I mean, I'm putting that in air quotes. Want your nails did and your hair tight. But make sure they're not using slave labor when they do it. That's why you want to do business in your community with people you know. If I open up a nail shop and I've got folks out there on the line, the folks on that line is going to probably be somebody I know and I vetted it. And I'm not going to be beating them with brooms and nail clippers and cuticle clippers or nail files. Man, we are too. I mean, it's so much. That's why I have to do this news, because it's sobering. It grounds us. It's a mirror. It's a mirror of society, and it's a reflection of some of the things that we're doing that sometimes just don't make sense. Like all the money we spend at these places, these nail salons and hair places that have no foundation in the community, not giving anything back. All of the money is going out. And now you find out that some of them are using slave labor. And that's not to disparage any community in particular. But I'm saying we have more than enough reasons and resources to support the businesses in our community. I was contacted by a young lady out of Durham, North Carolina. And she was one of the few people that I did allow to get through the gate. But she was starting a business in one of these. She has one of these salons where there's a dearth of representation in our community. And so I said, look, I cleared out some room for her. I said, look, yes, I will do everything in my power to make sure you are successful, because I see a vacuum in the salon that she was about to open up. So we are actually doing business as we speak. We're working on her website and branding. And so that's what I'm saying. When you working with a purpose, strange things happen. Let's see here. The gas station manager down in California who was selling gas at 69 cents a gallon, he forgot to put the decimal in the wrong place. So instead of selling it for $6.99, he was selling it for 69 cents. And here comes social media. All of your people start texting and DMing all their friends. And next thing you know, they're like $16,000 in the hole from this gas that they undersold. All right, a bus driver blacked out behind the steering wheel because he didn't know that his gummy bears had THC. Okay. I don't think they were gummy bears, but anytime you're eating gummy anything these days, it does not have a happy ending. I have to wait a minute. I have to watch how I use that word happy ending. It is so loaded. But I'm not eating anything gummy, period. I'm just gonna tell you. If it's gummy included, I don't care if it's a bear, a gummy bear, gummy cat, gummy mommy, I'm not eating it. Well, this driver, he said that's why he was blacked out behind the steering wheel of this bus he was driving. And of course, he was fine, but he had 38 patches. He pulled over, next thing, man, it was high as a kite. Gummy. Sorry, not doing it. If it's gummy, I don't give a shape like a bear or what. I'm not eating it. Plus, it's bad on your teeth. But that is a new, I think, Mike Tyson and a few other folks have gotten into that cannabis market. And a lot of time, often the vehicle that they use to deliver the THC is gummy products. Mike Tyson tried to do a gummy in the shape of an ear to symbolize the biting off of a piece of the guy he was fighting, Holyfield, bit off a piece of Holyfield's ear. And so Mike Tyson coming off a gummy ear. Not a good idea, Mike. We want to forget that, not be reminded every time we eat your THC. A school teacher has been fined for being intoxicated in Ashburn, Virginia. And that's bad enough in itself, but this is the second time they've had a drunk teacher in the past 3 years. What's going on down there at that school? What the heck is going on in Ashburn, Virginia? But I'm telling you, boy, all you got to do is teach these kids you go down there and teach these kids for about a week. You'll see, you will find out there's nothing to see here. You be wondering, only 3 have gotten drunk. I tried this summer camp over at Prince George's Community College. Gonna try to start these kids into the business arena early. And I signed up after about the 3rd week. And I tell you, I think I was almost suicidal by the time I was through with that. So drinking, after having just the 3 people drinking, can sometimes be excused depending on the type of classroom you're teaching. And this was elementary too. Woo! Lord have mercy. Black Jesus, help us. Let's see here. A woman, they call this just karma. These drive-thrus. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, before I do these next 3 stories, because they all have something in common. What is wrong with these adults out here beating up teenagers at the fast food restaurants? Shame on you. I know this is no one in my listening audience, but if you know somebody that's, everybody got that crazy uncle and crazy aunt, and they might do anything. Just remind them today. So look here, Aunt Betsy, I know you're going down to the McDonald's in a few minutes to get your McRib. It may be a little slow because the lines are longer than normal. We're having some supply chain issues, so you might not have all the buns. They might not put as much sauce on your rib as they normally do. But I'm just gonna have a behest here. Don't shoot them. Don't run their car through the front glass. Don't grab the young teenager and try to pull them through the window. Don't throw your cup back through the window. Now, it seems like these should be givens, but these next 3 stories. A woman loses her car. She was at the Chick-fil-A. She jumps out of her car to confront a teenager. And while she was out there fussing at the teenager, she forgot to put her car in park, and the car went off down the hill through the woods. Went across a busy intersection. If it karma's a big, well, I'm not gonna say it, but anyway, you know what I'm saying. Let's see what else is going on. This customer got in a fight with a teenager, a 17-year-old. This lady's, she's coming all through the window. Head wiggling, and the teen got on the phone and called her mom. Said, "Mom, this lady here trying to beat me up." And so the mom, I guess right around the corner, she came to the rescue. And of course, the other adult who was fighting the teenager, she jumped in her car and drives away. That's something else I want you to remember, ladies and gentlemen. These 16, 17, 18-year-old kids, they have parents. And you might beat the kid up, but let me tell you, boy, you're going to have a mad parent on your hands. Somebody beat up my 14 or 15-year-old kid at the McDonald's. I'm going to be none too happy. It's not fair. First of all, it's not a fair fight. But you shouldn't beat up anybody. Not to be outdone, a DoorDash driver shot a 17-year-old because he ordered 2 milkshakes. And when he got to the store to pick it up, the person came out and only brought 1. Okay, I'm calling my order to DoorDash. They have the drive-thru where you can drive and pick it up. I get there, and how dare they? I ordered 2 milkshakes. That means I'm trying to think, who's that second milkshake for? I think you may have some issues at home you got to deal with. You afraid to go home with 1 milkshake, you got to shoot somebody. You might have to do a little reality check here. Oh my God, I can't go back. Keisha's waiting on me. Last time I came home and I heard milkshake. Oh boy, shooting people over a milkshake. Lord have mercy, help us. Help us, help us, help us. I'm not even going to talk about the lady on the gurney. It's gun violence just never ends. The lady was on the gurney at a healthcare center. Something happened. She pulls a gun out of her waistband and shoots somebody. All right, I'm gonna bring Platinum. Are you over there? See if you want to tune in on any of these topics we're talking about today. Platinum.
Yep. Oh,
Platinum, does it ever end?
No. And speaking of guns, which is so crazy, I ain't even go there. You know, I try to tell my sister about her. Well, he's a grown kid, but he's purchasing all these guns and all these weapons. I'm like, why? You know, she's making up excuses. But here's the deal. Why
So
does
she have any automatic weapons in the rifles or just handguns?
I think he just had handguns, but he ended up sharing it with his coworker. He was supposed to be cleaning somebody's AR-15. He told the coworker the next day. The coworker called him up, say, "Hey, you at work or home?" He said he was at work. He goes to my sister's house because my nephew lived with the sister. She opened up the door. She pointed by the barrel of a gun. And so luckily she ran out the house, but her husband had just had surgery, so she's screaming. And wait, let me turn this down. So she's screaming. So she runs down the street. So luckily she got out, because had she not got out, he probably would have killed both of them. Nobody would have known. He ran up. The husband was coming down the step. He told him, don't bring your, go back. Asked him where was the son room at. I think he grabbed the AR-15, because I guess he didn't have time to get the other guns because my sister left out. So he didn't know what to do. So he was like, I guess he had to do what he doing fast and get on up out there. But anyway.
Give me a quick 1 minute take on one of these news stories.
And the D.L. Hughley and Monique.
Oh.
My thing is, like you said, what about the humility thing? How about if both of y'all are great, who cares who go first? You know what I mean? People gonna enjoy both of y'all, I assume. So
hey, wait a minute. I just realized you're a comedian. You ever had that?
Yeah. And then secondly, it should have been on the promoter, the one who messed up the contracts. Because she did show that she had a legitimate contract. He didn't quite show that. He showed some other stuff, but he didn't show the legitimate contract.
He showed a letter of agreement letter.
Right. Oh, I thought he didn't. She said whatever he showed wasn't quite what she showed. But, my thing is the promoter should have one handled that.
Yes.
So if you screwed up, then you the one need to handle it. And if you had to go first, be the best you can be. If you had to go last, be the best you can be. Who cares? And then when you get to the daughter thing, I don't think she should did that, because wasn't she upset Oprah Winfrey when Oprah Winfrey kind of brought her family there based on what had happened between her and her brother? Don't do unto others that you didn't want somebody else to do unto you. Yeah,
matter of fact, Monique has gotten a lot of heat. I think it was about 50-50 before she put that daughter thing in. People are like, well, maybe Monique is getting a raw deal. Maybe there's some sexism going on. Maybe, but then when she put that thing about talking about DL's daughter, and that's when it went. I mean, she got scorched.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. She sort of the same thing when she was upset at Oprah for doing that to her, bringing her parents and her brother on when she was still sour about her situation. So at the end of the day,
but you know what?
She should have pulled the promoter out there and got him straight. That's who both of them should have been getting on instead of each other. I think it should have been the middleman, the man who hired both of them.
I know these things happen. I was a few years ago. I was a speaker at it was like a marketing show. I guess had marketing speakers there. So of course we had to line up in advance. And the guy who was after me, it was like we were kind of like co-headliners, but he was going to close the shop, but he had to leave early. So the promoter came to me and said, "Look, this guy's got to leave, so I want to switch you guys' order." Now, of course, I was a little thrown because I didn't want to sit there and watch his whole show, because that I had timed my arrival. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there are things that are they're logistical things. I had timed my arrival to get there just in time to speak. I didn't because I was busy. That was a very busy time. But it actually worked out better in the end because I didn't even understand this. So I wasn't into this whole thing about the last person being the headliner. Make a long story short, I ended up being at the end, and people at the end of the program were like, "Man, you headlined over such and such." I'm like, "Okay." So it's like you're making a big to do over nothing, really.
Right.
We don't need to get into that. We don't need more reasons to fight and be divisive. We have enough problems outside the community to not cannibalize ourselves.
There you go.
So tell us, give me a plug. What are you plugging today?
Always, we doing an event on August the 20th. Get your early bird tickets now. You can go to my Facebook page, Platinum-Maryland Franklin. Click on the link, get your ticket now, save you $10, and come and enjoy the show.
And you got to put that on your.
Feed you a little bit there.
When you get back to your Facebook, you can put that link in the feed so folks can grab it. Okay.
Okay.
Put it in the feed.
Marilyn. I'll just share it over to your page.
All right. Thanks again, Marilyn. Thanks for joining us. Folks, you can do it too. We'll be glad to bring you on the air and let's talk about one of the news stories and let's promote your book, your event, what you have going on. So thank you again, Marilyn. We're going to come back and we're going to wrap up the show talking about influencer marketing. Do you have to be an Amazon or some behemoth to take advantage of influencer marketing? Is influencer marketing just the latest fad, the latest shiny object? You want to hang on for a second. We're going to talk about influencer marketing when we come back. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in about 1 minute. I'm not busy. I'm just in another era. Lock the refrigerator door. Do not let negativity have another bite. Don't feed it. If we know that women are carrying the burden, they should be paid more. They should be given more flexible work hours. I may stop in some period, but as long as folks bag the food, got to talk about it. Every week, we talk about some of the hot items in the news. All right, thank you for tuning in to the show. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. We're here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses. If you want to promote your company, your business, your book, your event, just come on board. We send out the link every week. We usually put the link on the website at Marketing Pulpit the night before, and you can just grab that link, click on it, and all the instructions on how to get on the air. Just set up your camera. Type in your name and we'll bring you on and talk about some of the items that's going on. State your opinion. You can give your opinion and your plug for your business, your event, your product, or whatever you're doing, because we're trying to get the word out here to build these businesses in our community. And we found a pretty good vehicle here. So take advantage of it. Don't be cursing the darkness. Light a candle. We're lighting candles for business owners so that you don't be out here spending all your money on these untested vehicles when we have one right here that's been proven. And you people like BLE and other companies have been taking advantage of it for the past 10 years. And we're going to let you have a little slice of it as well without spending a dime. Just all we need is your opinion. Let's talk about influencer marketing. Now, influencer marketing is indeed a new mainstream type of marketing and advertising. It is not a fad. Because the reason I know it's not a fad, because it has been around, it predates social media. Because in the old days, we used to call it celebrity endorsements. In other words, when I was a buyer over at Diet to Go, and I told the owners over there, I said, look, we're not going to buy advertising space on anybody's radio show or anybody's TV show unless we can get one of the personalities to endorse the product. I still stick by that model today. I have a client right now over advertising on Sirius XM, and I insisted that Joe Madison read the ad because he is an influencer. He doesn't call himself that, but I know an influencer when I see one. So this is not a fly-by-night concept. it has been given new relevance in the digital age because now we have analytics. You can't just go up here and say I'm an influencer, because the first thing they're going to do is say, look, they're going to go take a look at your Instagram account. They're going to look at your Facebook page. I got a link. I got an email from Amazon, and they invited me to join their program. And they said, the first thing they ask you for, I want to see your link to your Instagram account, send me the link to YouTube account, send me the link to your LinkedIn page, send me the link to your Facebook page, or anything else you got going on out there. We want to see your website. And then they would determine based on that information if you do have indeed influence. So that's how people are chosen for influence, because one way to do it is to manually reach out to people. And we're going to talk about ways how you can find influencers as well. But that's one way to do it. They just manually reach out to people that they see on the internet or on social media. Now, the whole concept of influencer marketing is the power to influence people's purchasing decisions by using your authority, knowledge, position, relationship, and influence. And usually that influence is directed towards a certain niche. And so some organization who has a interest in that particular audience would use that influencer to use his or her influence to help move their product or promote their brand. Now, the numbers on this influencer concept is pretty staggering. The marketing of influencers has grown to a $13.8 billion industry in 2021. And in 2022, that number is going to jump to 16 billion. Okay. Also, the return on the investment for influencers is about for every dollar spent, you're going to get about $6 in return. That means it's about 16%, which is really right in line with traditional advertising. So the biggest influencer brand out there, the platform is right now, is probably Instagram. That's where the influencer marketing is having its greatest impact right now. Now, it's not just about you go out here and start finding folks who have influence and say, look, I see you have influence. Will you promote my service? You have to understand that an influencer has spent considerable time building a brand, building a platform, building their social media presence, and they are very protective of it. And they're not going to be just out here talking about anything and anybody and ruin that goodwill. It's not for quick results. It's not something you're going to jump out here and get an influence and turn your business around overnight. It follows the same type of path as social media in general. It's about content creation, building relationships, nurturing, and so forth. So you have to go into it with the right attitude and be realistic. Now, how does it differ from traditional social media marketing? Well, like most people, you go out here, you set up your little Facebook page, you set up your Instagram account, and you just are posting. You just are sharing. You just are commenting. You're engaging left, you're engaging right. And then you're out here creating content. You're really working yourself to death. And then you look at your numbers, you only got like 100 people following you. So what's all that work for? You're doing all of this work for 100 people. You're doing all this work, in some cases, you don't even have 100 people. And you're trying to create all this content for 50 people. Instead of trying to like starting from the square block one, spend this time to find yourself an influencer who has already reached those folks that you're trying to reach. And they have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of followers that are in your niche market area. That's the difference. So you're still taking advantage of social media, but you're taking a more targeted approach through the influencer. So how do you start your own influencer program? Okay. And also, just quickly, an influencer does not have to be a celebrity. So that's one of the differences between celebrity endorsements and influencers. Influencers, many of them don't even consider themselves celebrities at all. They just happen to build a following due to their stature, their experience, their popularity, And many have used that popularity now as leverage, as marketing, and people are willing to pay them. So if you're going to start an influencer marketing campaign, here's some quick tips. Define your goals, understand why you want to have a campaign for influencers. Is it to build sales, to grow your brand, be more effective in your advertising, reach that 16% versus now you may be getting 50% return on your investment. You want to put together a strategy. Like anything marketing, it starts with a strategy. Define your audience. Make sure that audience is aligned with the influencer you're trying to reach. And find the best influencer for your brand. Now, how do you find these influencers? Well, like Amazon found me, we call that the manual approach. Now, of course, they have some algorithms out here. There's some technology out there. It looked manual to me, but believe me, it was not random. But there are agencies and there are platforms that will help you find an influencer. They're going to take a little piece of it like anything else. Nothing's free. But if you really want to jump into the influencer marketing arena, there are platforms. There's influencermarketinghub.com. There's grin.co and a few others out there. Also, you can go through an agency like a marketing advertising agency, digital marketing agency, and they will help you reach those influencers. Of course, once again, you have to pay them. Then once you do that, you make the contact, build that relationship, and you might find out that influencer marketing may have been the missing tool from your advertising arsenal all this time, and you're here spinning all these wheels on social media when somebody else already had that audience that you're trying to reach. All right, folks, that's going to wrap it up for the day. This has been the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m., bringing you the good marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses. Once again, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Your work does not go unnoticed. I know sometimes the fathers feel like they get a rough ride, a short end of the stick. In some cases, that's true, but in spite of that, the fathers just keep on going, they keep on plugging. And thank you again to the fathers, the ones who are responsible, stepping up to the plate. Some are taking care of other people's children. And I mean, I have a special bond with the fathers out here. Also, we are celebrating Juneteenth coming up. I know I made a few jokes about the holiday and what you're going to do, but I do think this is a time for reflection. I think it was a good idea that this holiday was brought to bear because many people felt a little funny or different celebrating July 4th when indeed that holiday was not put in place for people of African American descent. So I'm glad that President Obama did it. I think I'd have been happy if they put a little money behind it, put a little reparation money with it, but we'll take what we can get, take these steps to get to the big prize. And also, once again, Platinum is saying happy Father's Day. Thank you, Platinum, again for tuning in, and thanks for joining us today on the platform. Also, to get ready next week, if you want to come on the platform and tell your story and join the news, just go to the Marketing Pulpit website and get the link, pop it in to your browser, and it gives you the instructions on how to get on the air and tell your story. And join me up here as I tell the news. And you'll find this is a very, you can take advantage of this influence. This is a case in point of how to use influencer. You can use the Marketing Pulpit and Robert Gatewood influence to help promote your business, your company, your book, your event. Okay, so that's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you again for tuning in. We'll be back next week at the same time right here on the Marketing Pulpit radio show. And if you want to be successful, you have to do these three things. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and you have to do it right. Enough talk. Let's get to work. People don't understand marketing. You can't stop every time the money runs out. You need to come on and tell people why your service is different. Why is everybody so angry? Airline passengers biting the TSA agents. I mean, it reminds me of one of those zombie apocalyptic movies. And as a community, collectively, we're going to be taken more seriously if we have that strong economic foundation. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and you have to do it right. Enough talk. Let's get to work.